recording. So, welcome to Mastery Magic. I am Mr. Scotty Mac. We are here again with the one, the only, the master, Jarvis Yu. Jarvis, thank you very much for coming back.
Hey.
I am very glad to have you. We are, of course, battling with your standard deck of choice this time. So, you took this to top 8 of a PTQ not too long ago. Abzan Whip. Tell us about it. This is a deck that I know that Jerry has said is probably one of the best in the format. Might need a bit of an overhaul, but we've seen a bunch of different ways of this deck being built. Talk to us a little bit about why you've built this one this way.
Yeah, so I'm not actually 100% responsible for this exact configuration. A bunch of my friends played it in a few local tournaments, and they said this deck was extremely powerful and basically beats the pants off of anyone who's not prepared to beat it.
Okay.
We added Eidolons to address mirrors, mostly, because they're just giant grind fests. Eventually someone ends up being ground out by the other person's creature advantage by having more cards, essentially. Eidolon, in particular, gets ridiculous in multiples.
Yep.
And yeah, that's basically why we added them to the deck.
Okay.
Other people have cards like Anafenza in that spot, or Moral Hornet Queens, or whatever. I just don't think those present an actual good avenue. The biggest problem with Anafenza and these types of mirrors is it'll just get picked off by a random removal spell and not actually do anything.
Okay.
Yeah, strong deck. Whip shores up a lot of problems, dying in particular versus an aggressive deck. You just play Whip, you instantly stabilize.
Yep.
Or whatever. The Abzan aggro deck is a little bit troubling for this deck, which is why my sideboard is 7 removal spells, literally, or technically 8, I guess. The other end also comes in versus them.
Yeah.
But the thing is, you just want to kill their 2-drop, then their 3-drop, then their 4-drop, and then just play all of your solo expensive spells.
Nice. Sounds like a good plan. So the engines are the same, and you've got your Seder Wayfinders, Caryatids, Coursers, which is great. Siege Rhino is a wonderful card. And you've got your sort of Eidolon, Whip, Doomwake package with Hornet Queen as one of your big resurrection targets. Removal suite, you've got 2 Thoughtseize, which is sort of removal, 2 Heroes Downfall, and the 3 Murder Scots, and 1 Utter End leaking around there. So
yeah.
Seems like it's pretty well balanced. It's really sort of well positioned to take on all potential issues. And your sideboard looks really sweet. I mean, like you said, you've got a buttload of removal spells, and then you've got some nice sort of grind trumps as well.
Yep. In particular, at the PTQ, I played Liliana Vest in Game 2 versus someone. They weren't really expecting that from this deck. It's a pretty standard card for that, regular Abzan mid-range deck. But here, just chaining your Eidolons is so powerful that it just gets out of hand very quickly. And plus, once you stack an Eidolon on top of your deck, the other cards you tutor for, you can just get right away, essentially.
Yeah, you just draw them out.
Yeah.
Nice. And I mean, her ultimate is nothing to sneeze at these days too, right? Being able to just take all of the dead creatures in a match of grindy attrition and put them all into play under your side is basically game over.
I would wager that if you got to that point, you probably could have just beaten them by tutoring 4 times.
I mean, that's probably fair.
Yeah. I don't like to try to go for that ultimate normally because I think it's actually pretty easy to remove a Liliana if you want to.
Okay.
Between downfalls and other ends that are just flying around.
Yeah. It's actually an issue that I've been encountering when I'm trying to play cards like Ashiok and Kiora, where they're okay, but it's not their abilities aren't the raw power of Kiora, for example, comes out of her ultimate, right? If you can fire off her ultimate, there's a very slim chance that you would actually lose that game, right? Whereas
I don't know. Yeah, I don't actually like Ashiok very much. I actually didn't like it at all in the last standard because it would just like immediately die every time and not really do anything. I've also like I didn't really like Kiora either because the blue white decks could just go way way over it. In particular, I remember like a match I had versus Kiora where my opponent had Emblem, I had Elixir Recursion, so I just like literally cast Wrath of God every turn, and like he wouldn't concede, and like I finally decked him. I was at like 120 life or something.
Yikes.
I mean that's how those blue white versus like Bant control mirrors went.
Yeah, no, that's
But
true.
yeah, I don't really like trying to rely on Ashiok. Well, to be fair, Ashiok is pretty good versus deck. We only have four answers to it, but
Yeah.
the real strength of the blue whip decks is having counters like Disdainful Stroke and Negate.
Agree.
I don't think Ashiok or Cure are actually reasons to go blue.
No. I like Sidisi is a nice sort of like army in a can. It's good that it enables, all of your delve shenanigans. And
Yeah, but like just compare Sidisi to Siege Rhino.
Oh, I agree. Oh, I agree.
Yeah.
Have you read the
Yeah.
two cards? Do you know which one wins? Yeah. And
And
I agree. And if you want to talk about like the card advantage engine, you've really tried to address that with the addition of the Eidolon of Blossoms.
yeah.
So
So there's a fun fact about Sidisi that I think a lot of people don't realize. If you just kill Sidisi with its first trigger on the stack, the trigger doesn't like make a 2/2.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
I think that's like a small thing that a lot of people miss.
Yeah, and it's why cards like Bowblight are actually very good against that deck. Because you can like either clean out a pile of zombies, you can take out all the bees, or you can just like kill Sidisi with it on the stack. So that's pretty sweet.
The record, I normally don't bring in that card in any whip mirrors. I don't think it does enough, but you could, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, if you're running Doomwake Giants, then the bees are less relevant,
Right.
Like all of that stuff. But
Yeah.
M-Man Dude has a question. Why does nobody play Banishing Lights? Well, let's go to the sideboard and let's talk about some of the card selections here, and let's reference why nobody plays Banishing Light. So you've got 2 Thoughtseize in the sideboard to clean up to 4. The matchups where you want Thoughtseize, you totally want all 4. 2 in the main deck is a nice little hedge. Sorry. And then in the matchups where you want them, they're good. It's all 4 bust. 3 copies of Glare of Heresy. So BBD has mentioned that he's close to main decking copies of this card.
Yeah, so what you're starting to see is people are packing Dark Betrayals and Glares for mirrors. Dark Betrayal is slightly better because it can also kill Death Dealer.
Yep.
But to be fair, Death Dealer or Dark Betrayal cannot kill Wingmate Rock. But if you've let Wingmate Rock resolve its raid, it forces you to have to deal with 2 creatures anyways. Mm-hmm. So it not being able to kill Rock is not as big of a deal. As to the Banishing Light thing, this deck really does not want Banishing Light because it's already so weak to Back to Nature.
Yeah.
Just having another removal spell that can be Back to Natured away for value for your opponent is like just not a good plan.
Okay, makes a lot of sense. No copies of Drown in Sorrow, 4 copies of Bowblight.
Okay, so the reason I moved there was I was not bringing in Drown versus tokens at any event, and the reason for this is in post-board games, they have a lot less token makers and are a lot more like of a weird hybridized control deck.
Okay.
So you don't even want Drown versus them post-board. The only matchup where I want Drown and Sorrow, regardless of player draw, is versus a mono-red deck.
Sure.
And versus them, you're so naturally strong that I think it's kind of a waste to have that card.
Okay.
So I will bring in Drown and Sorrow on the play versus Heroic, but not on the draw. So I'm just like, I would rather Bowblight versus them, like, all the time.
Sure. Makes sense. Yeah, I mean, like, Drown and Sorrow, I can totally see you playing on turn 3 versus your opponent's turn 2, and I get that. Yeah,
Yeah.
for heroic. Yeah, I see that. But yeah, Bile Blight, the -3/-3 at instant speed, anytime to anyone. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, it's also just like in the PTQ I played against BBD in the Swiss. I killed 2 of his fleece main lines when he was mana screwed. So that basically won the game right there.
Yeah.
Like he just had to play another threat. Like what's he gonna do? Not play threats?
Yeah.
And Bile Blight just like cleaned both of them up, which is like pretty insane for me.
Nice.
Unfortunately, he lost in the finals of that PTQ, and I lost in top 8. He lost to a traditional mid-range, like Abzan mid-range deck, which I think is a tough matchup for Abzan aggro, depending on how the builds are. I think he should have won Game 3, but he got very unlucky by flooding out. But, I mean, that happens.
Yep.
It's magic.
His answer to that was to add more lands. By the way.
Well, no, to be fair, his answer to that was to add a 26 land and also play Elspeth Sun's Champion in his main deck.
So, I mean, like, Elspeth Sun's Champion is a pretty strong Magic card.
Yeah.
So, other cards we have in here, Utter End, nice, sort of like versatile, exile anything, big threat. Nice removal spell for when the games go a bit longer, right? Bit bigger.
So, in the Whip Mirror, depending on the build, I usually try to save that one for Farika if possible, because Farika just like kind of makes your Whip do nothing. It literally makes your Whip do nothing.
Which is why you're playing your own, because I understand that making enchantments at will is super good when you have Eidolon Blossoms and or Doomwake Giants on the tables, and especially in multiples.
Yeah, it's actually like I was playing SCG States earlier this year with Mono Green Splash Black because Ross convinced me that that deck was insane. Like, basically, the quote he gave me was, yeah, if your opponent is not interacting with you, this deck does the most ridiculous things in the format. Which is, like, definitely true because, like, in one match I made, like, 60 mana on, like, turn 7. Just, like, and, actually annihilate 15 times so lethal my opponent.
Wow.
So, to be fair, in that deck I had one main deck Farika, one main deck Nylea, 4 Doomwakes, and 4 Eidolon of Blossoms. So, like, Farika could definitely, like, work over time.
Nice.
So, yeah. The black mana was a slight issue in that particular list, but it was still good enough to play. That wasn't even like trying to hose Whip or anything. It was just like it's good at attritioning people who are casting like Wrath of Gods versus you.
Yeah. And Death Touch is good as well if you need to block. And Farika is very easy to turn on in a deck with like multiple, double green pips and stuff like that. So
yeah.
Too. Liliana Vest we talked about obviously, and Reclamation Sage, which is a really nice one for the mirror, I imagine.
Yeah, not only that, I will sometimes bring it in versus Heroic to kill their Stratus Walks or Aqua Swarms.
Okay.
To be fair, like, I actually think boarding in enchantment removal versus them is pretty bad, but when it's attached to a body, I think it's a lot more acceptable.
Yeah, Heroic, you really need to be pressuring their life total as well. Jerry did a really good job of mentioning that in his article this week.
Yeah, well, I'm kind of surprised other people didn't figure that out because their deck is not very good at blocking. Yeah. Like, if you just look at their deck, it's kind of like a one-trick pony if you, A, know how to play around it, and B, know how to pressure their mana usage.
Yeah.
Like, if they ever get mana screwed, then, like, it's actually very easy to get their guy off the board.
Yeah, and once you do, like, and that's the thing, like, they can't always just be throwing guys away to block with because, if you ever get rid of their one stacked up threat, then they're going to need to start piling on another one, and they only have so many creatures in that deck.
And to be fair, I think the reason Tom wins a lot more than other people do is because people play scared versus him. Sometimes you just have to take a risk and they don't have it.
Yeah.
And they don't always have it. Like, he's just a human being. He doesn't have like magical top deck skills that other people don't have.
It's true.
I think people often forget this. Like, the professionals do not top deck better than you. It looks like they do because they play to it such a situation where if they draw it, that they'll win more often.
Yeah, yeah. They craft the situation. They have to play to their outs, right? Is a lot of what it's being called.
Right.
So if
Right.
they are playing to the situation to say, well, as soon as I play this card, if I top deck this card, I can win the game if I play this way.
I
And
mean,
then when they
yeah,
draw it,
yeah,
they win the game, right? So
yeah. I mean, that's why Tom plays Infect too. It plays like, to be fair, the Infect deck is just heroic with just a much higher power level.
totally,
It's like literally the same deck.
yeah,
Well, I mean, like obviously I'm being a little bit facetious. It's actually closer to a Delver deck, but it plays to a lot of the same strengths
yeah.
that Tom has, like bluffing, knowing how to get incremental damage through, and just like knowing when to go for it and when not to go for it, and hopefully not getting sudden shocked.
That's right. It was so bad. Yes, not getting sudden shocked.
Oh,
Yes, that's correct.
I mean, you know that guy was one of the also innovators of Canadian Threshold, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, you're from Canada. You should know that.
I do know that. I do
Okay.
know that. But it's I've only actually ever played two decks really in Legacy, and one of them is Infect. I had Tom on the stream to play Infect, which was wild, and then the other one that I played was I played Omnitel not too long ago, and like both of those decks are just so over the top powerful, and that's something that
Yeah, kind of. If
go
you ever
big
played
so
the Infect deck,
fast.
well, I don't know if you know of this deck called 43 Lands. It
Yes,
crushes the
I'm
hell
aware.
out of Infect. It's
I
like
have heard
not
about
even
that deck.
particularly close.
No,
Like
I
what
know.
actually happens is if you let them resolve an exploration, you will never get to deal them an Infect point of damage because Glacial Chasm will lock you out of the game.
Correct. Yeah. So it's funny that you should say that because I actually play a commander deck that is designed and modeled after 43 lands. So it's
How many
got
lands are in your deck? Like 60?
yes, more than that. 65, I think.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
But it revolves around Child of Alara and recurring Child of Alara
Yeah.
and blowing up the board and doing all of the land engine things and all that stuff. So, yeah, I'm aware of the 43 land Glacial Chasm, Tabernacle, fun stuff. It's all good. So anyway,
Yeah.
so this is where we're at with the whip deck. We want to battle it through. We missed the daily because of the moto crash, which is frustrating as all hell. But we can jam a bunch of 8-mans. I know that KYT wants to battle us with Abzan aggro.
Oh god. All right. Well, I mean, we'll do that at some point. That matchup is just like pretty lopsided, I think.
Yeah.
So to be fair, when I played against BBD in that PTQ, it was actually the first time I played the deck versus Abzan aggro. I didn't know it was a bad matchup, so I just kind of sacked him out and beat him. But then, like in the top 8, I like lost in under 10 minutes to Abzan aggro. It was just like I got pummeled.
Oh man, that's insane. Yeah,
I mean,
heard.
like whatever. He then informed me that yeah, it's pretty lopsided for Abzan aggro.
Yeah.
If they have a reasonable draw, I think.
Well, this deck is I mean the deck's not particularly fast, right? I mean it's kind of designed to be a mid-range deck that goes over the top of the other mid-range decks. So you need to be able to survive to the mid-range.
Yeah, like I don't want to Blossoms is not really a real card versus them.
No.
Although to be fair, in post-board games, it's fine to like leave in one because you kind of need to draw cards after you've killed all of their guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's get to some 8-mans, I guess.
I like it. Don't forget, everybody, that Master Magic is brought to you by the fine folks at FaceToFaceGames.com. You can check it out. Give them all of your business because they take care of me. Also, if you are in the Edmonton area towards the end of this month, they are hosting another stop on the Mana Deprived Super Series. It will be Edmonton, Alberta. It's a 3K event. It is a standard. So it looks like Fate Reforged will be legal, and it'll be a great opportunity for you guys out on the West Coast to go and play and battle it up. So make sure you check that out. All right. Next, we have some constructed tournaments. We have some queues. I have the deck. It frustrates me that 8-mans are now 5/3/2/2s. What happened to my good old 8/4s? And we, of course, are the only person in the 8-man. We could 2-man.
No, two mans are pretty terrible.
They're bad value.
Yeah.
Whoa.
It's not even that. I think eight mans fill up pretty quickly. Like, I don't mind waiting like a minute or two
Okay.
while I see. Let's see. Any interesting questions from our viewers?
Nope. Everybody just says that. Yeah, somebody was saying everyone says this deck is a pile. And yeah, it grinds hard. It grinds super hard. So, it has its rough matchups. Abzan aggro is one of them. Abzan aggro is very popular right now. So that can be frustrating. But aside from that, it's got really good game against the other mid-range decks.
Yeah, I think the other bad matchup that is not particularly popular is Blue Black Control,
Sure.
which won the Grand Prix in Denver. Which I'm actually kind of surprised. Like, in my experience, the Blue Black deck is not good versus Abzan aggro, but the guy beat Sperling. Although, I think that guy played very well in general, so I don't know.
Okay.
I just don't like the control decks in this format. I think they have like a lot of fundamental flaws with them.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. I have not actually lost, I don't think, to the blue-black control deck in some time.
So I think the other issue is like it's a very punishing deck, and it's also very low power level.
Yeah.
You don't like if your opponent like keeps a two-ender, misses their third, like you can't actually punish them in any sort of way.
And turn it around. I wonder if they're going to go deeper, and they're going to play, like they get a Wrath. Right, the blue-black deck gets a Wrath in the new set.
Yeah.
They also get Ugin, if that's even a thing. I don't even know.
So, I think the small issue with Ugin is that it's a really good sweeper,
Yep.
but trying to rely on it to win you the game is actually a losing proposition.
Given the fact that all of those kill spells to Planeswalkers exist.
Yeah, I view it as an Oblivion Stone, actually. It's literally Oblivion Stone, except you have to pay all of the mana up front. Which is like, don't get me wrong, that's like a super powerful effect. Like, look at All Is Dust, essentially. Yep. People play that like occasionally, and it's good enough. I mean, the real reason the Tron deck started playing All Is Dust in Modern was Bogles, mostly. Because it's like the best answer to Bogles.
Yeah. So H2O Midnight. New MTGO player and I'm terrible at drafts, but I like to draft. Do you have any good tips? So my question was, which draft format? Because there's different tips to all of the different draft formats. If you're drafting M15, draft white cards. Draft them all. Draft them hard. Take Triplicate Spirits over everything. Then Cone of Flame.
If you're drafting Triple Shadowmoor, take red cards.
Yeah.
It's my advice. Yeah, I don't know, like, trying to go infinite drafting is very difficult. And I remember, like, Rich Hohen, who maybe a bunch of you don't know, but I know Scotty definitely knows who Rich Hohen is.
Yeah. Rich Hohen is a very prominent Canadian Magic player, or was.
Yeah, he was considered to be number 1 or number 2 in Limited in the world, and he said sometimes he would run out of boosters and be forced to start playing Construct on Magic Online. So, like, it's really easy to just take a few round 1 8-4 losses and be reduced to nothing.
Yeah.
Which is frustrating, but yeah, it can happen to the best in the world.
It's Magic. Good old game of variance.
Yeah, I remember, like, I watched draft, or back when they had written draft caps, there was like a draft for Hohen's not in black after the Time Spiral pack, and he opens the Damnation and he's like, yeah, I'm going to take it because it's like 9 tickets. Like, clearly, if you're in a Pro Tour draft, you're not going to do this. But Hohen's like, yeah, it's just like a random 8-4. I could use the 9 tickets. It pays for my draft.
Oh, wow. I mean, sometimes you got to do it, right?
Yeah. I mean, like, I would probably just take Damnation and hope to end up black at some point. Anyways.
Yeah,
so
being able to play it. Card's real good. So people keep dropping in and out of this. This is really bad.
That's fine. We can just wait a bit.
Makes me sad. It makes me sad, Jarvis. Makes me sad. Yeah, this list looks. You can very clearly tell when you sit down and you start to look at the numbers that this has been very well thought out and very well tuned.
So what
really
I
not
actually
much else I can say about it. It's
Okay.
It's tight.
So I actually have a method for doing this. I will usually write down like what decks I'm expecting and what I want my deck to look like post board versus a lot of the decks,
Mm-hmm.
and figure out what cards I want to take out and substitute in, and then like fix the sideboard numbers to get to that point.
So I've seen somebody. I can't remember who wrote the article about it. Like
It was
God,
V a long time ago.
Was it where he said he basically had like
He calls it the elephant method. I don't know why, because it doesn't remind me of an elephant whatsoever. But the idea is your 75 should be like a coherent thing. It's not like 60 plus 15. It's an entire thing.
Yeah. So he would. So what I read was you make like if you were playing an Abzan Whip deck against Heroic, what do you want your deck to look like? And he would like write out the 60 cards that you would want that deck to, ideally, like the perfect deck to look like. And then you would go, okay, so if the top decks are Heroic, Abzan Aggro, and Sidisi Whip, right? So then Abzan Aggro, and you'd write down, this is the best possible Abzan Whip list for Abzan Aggro. And then this is the absolute best Abzan Whip deck for Sidisi Whip. And then what he would do is like take all of those, compare them, and then from there basically like build it all. We have a match. We have a match!
Absolute grace.
I'm excited. Okay, so this is an interesting hand. We have no mana accelerant per se. We have a whip, we have an utter end, and we have 2 murderous cuts. We have no way to get black mana and a Satyr Wayfinder. We're on the draw.
I'd probably keep this on the draw. On the play, I think. I would actually just probably keep it overall.
Okay.
I don't like to mulligan though, so I'm willing to gamble on like looser ones. This is probably in like the bottom 10% of hands I'm willing to keep.
Okay.
But yeah, I would keep it and see what happens.
Okay.
I mean, you have draw steps.
I think I would 100% snap mulligan this hand. By the way. I mean, that's just me. You're the expert here, so I'm going to defer to you. But I'm almost 70% to mulligan this hand. Oh, God. It's so gross that we just drew that card. So gross. We're going to play the Forest.
Just play Forest.
Yeah, because there's no way
we want to draw land.
Yeah, exactly. Of course we draw carried it, and everything I just said makes me look stupid. So good. So good.
So I'm predicting a raise an alarm at the end step.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Alright, you should fetch Forest.
Okay.
It gives less information. And plus, you don't really need the there's like some outside shot that like I'm trying to think of a way our guy could get killed. Nah. Alright.
Called it.
Well, so the other Jeskai deck is not very popular. So if he goes Temple of Triumph, it's either white red or tokens.
Yeah, and then
when he passes with Strand Up, it has to be the tokens deck. Just snap, block.
Yep.
This is a very good matchup for us if we draw Doomwake.
Okay.
Otherwise, it's like about even.
Okay. Hey, Siege Rhinoceros.
I would just fire off the Siege Rhino.
Yeah, just get the planes. Yep. Now, as far as he's concerned, we're still just an Abzan deck. We haven't shown him any reanimation shenanigans.
So, to be fair, there's like an idea in statistics that you should base the likelihood of a deck being whatever based on the percentage of decks that you've seen are that deck. So he might be like 70% that were, Abzan Whip, and like 30% that were mid range or something like that. I don't think it really changes his play very much.
Okay.
But it's just like an interesting thing to think about.
Now we're like absolutely utter ending the hell out of that thing, right?
I don't think you need to do it this turn, but I think I would just attack him and play another Rhino.
I mean, drawing that second Rhino really does kind of lend to that plan.
But if we hadn't, I would have just probably played Wayfinder.
Just to try to hit the land drop?
Well, you need a second block for Whip of Erebos, so...
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we're in really good shape here. If you had a second red, there's like a small chance you could go like Outburst, force Stokes to kill both of our guys while looting the entire time.
And outside
chance. I've literally done that to someone, so it's not like out of the question. So, and you would also take 10 on that attack.
So lucky. So lucky, Jarvis.
Well, I mean, that's why that deck is like very strong.
It is true. And of course, as soon as you get multiple ascendancies going, this deck just gets ridiculous.
Yeah.
Alright, so I'm like absolutely not blocking here. I have no reason to. Like he's
no.
I
mean, like 2 damage. Who cares, right?
No,
like
absolutely does not matter. Sure, Jeskai Charm, you got it.
I mean, this is like he just wants to loot here and gain some life back, but it's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. This, I mean, it looks like is he just trying to draw land here? Anyways, just looks.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, he got it. All right.
All right. Let's see. That's not the ideal draw. So.
It's not.
I think you play Wayfinder first to get more information. This gives them a lot of info, but I think that's fine.
We get nothing.
That was kind of unfortunate, but I think we're still in pretty good shape.
Just want to cast.
I would just attack him for 8 and leave up Murderous Cut.
Okay, it's better than casting the Carried to ensure that we can hit Whip next turn.
Actually, probably not. Now that I think about it, you're right here.
Ooh, count 1 for Scotty. Ooh. So I want to cast that Whip so bad. I'm tapping for black mana already.
Yep.
All right. So we do at least have like a chump blocker and Satyr Wayfinder. So if he does want to go like dumb with his guys, we can at least throw it in front. But I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm not actually sure that he can win once we drop the Whip of Erebos if it resolves.
No, he can't really. Basically, I felt really good about this matchup in general.
Mm-hmm.
They're like kind of a slow grind deck. I would just balk with one of them.
Yeah.
If you ever draw a Doomwake, like multiple Doomwakes, it's like really, really difficult to lose.
Yeah, almost comical. Yeah, so he's just going to pull the same shit again. So I'm glad we didn't put our carry hit in front.
Fine.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, our opponent's in some serious trouble here.
Yep.
Yeah, he's gonna gain 6 here.
Yep.
Just go to 12.
I mean, it's like a fair amount of life, but whatever. You have 2 4/5s.
Oh my god! Kuvi's in the chat. What's going on, John?
Yeah. Well, Kuvi is the nut, so.
He is. He's been on my stream as well, actually. All of you, I'm collecting you like trophies. Just jam the Whip here, I think, right? He's got no way to stop it.
Yeah, I think so. Yep.
I mean, if he's got erased main deck, then good on him, but I kind of don't think that's a thing.
There was a point of time where I was actually going to play a null in that main deck.
Really?
It's better to counter Doomwake than to let it resolve than erase it, in that deck especially.
Alright, bang. What's up, Mojo? Funny story. Mojo Gaming, okay? Used to play Magic years ago. And then just happened to fall upon the stream. Okay? And I was streaming with I don't know. Streaming with Jason, I guess. What do we got here? This looks like a his turn. Cruise, totally cruise, yeah. And during the game, during our stream, he was like, "This is amazing. Magic's still around." How did you find this?
And then you informed him it's like doing better than ever.
And we gave him all the tools, and now he's drafting on Magic Online.
Yeah, sounds about average.
Just bought in and follows the stream, and it's awesome. So shout out to Mojo Gaming. Makes me
Sweet.
Really happy that we're doing what we're doing because we're doing nothing but helping the game. So that makes me smile a lot.
So I actually think the worst card in the token stack is Lightning Strike.
Yeah, but I feel like it's one of those. Well, I mean, it's one of the easiest ones to replace, but I think it's one of those.
I would rather play. Well, I think by this point I would rather have Disdainful Stroke in my main, but that might be a little bit too inbred.
Too deep, Jarvis. Too deep.
Yeah, maybe.
There he is. He's balls deep in Magic Online, and even considering putting some paper decks together. That's awesome. You should just come to Vegas. That'd be sick.
Yeah, sometimes we have the fire.
That's right. So good. All right. Yeah, Magma Jet, because it gets you closer to Ascendancy. I was thinking that too, but I guess it just comes down to the math, right? I mean, if you've got a Lightning Strike and an Ascendancy on the table, I mean, like, you can take down a Rhino with that, which is nice, right?
Yeah, so I think if you want to play a 2-minute spell, Jet is probably much better. But I kind of just like having the option to just counter a Siege Rhino.
Sure.
Because I think the Siege Rhino decks are where you need the most help, not decks where Lightning Strike is like good versus them. Like, I think the token stack is probably favored versus Abzan aggro, if I had to guess.
That's a land.
I mean, he's actually just dead to cut. Well, actually, I guess he's not technically dead to cut. Well, it's... If you cut his Seeker and he has another Raised Alarm, what happens? So, you can actually lead with Utter End on his Ascendancy to force out the thing. Which will give us more information.
Okay. All those triggers. What's he got? Lightning Strike?
Yeah, see, like, Strike is not particularly effective versus us.
Yeah. So that is going to untap all of his tokens, which is awkward.
Yep, I mean, I just wanted to get more info before doing anything.
Sure.
To be fair, you can still, if he didn't strike one of our Rhinos, you can just attack with both of your guys, because you just cut whatever he blocks with Seeker. You just cut the Seeker. Did it go at us?
What?
No, it went at one
no,
Rhino.
It went at the
so you
Rhino.
can just attack with the other Rhino. Well, hold on. If we attack with both... Nah, you should just attack with both, actually.
Because he's at 4. We're going to cut the Seeker anyway. So that's going to deal 4. Yeah, I agree. Rhinos have trample. So good.
Yep.
Yeah, I guess we could also just whipped Rhino there too, right? Like, we do have a Rhino in the graveyard.
No, I think that's significantly worse. Because getting this NC off the table means he can't actually beat us, I think. So yeah, you just cut the thing. You should leave your Siege Rhino and Satyr Wayfinder, but besides that, I don't think it actually matters what else you double line. Probably, yeah, just whatever.
Alright, we win.
I mean, he was basically dead to that the entire time, because that's actually 4 damage. So... This like matchup gets sort of weird post-board.
Okay.
I don't actually like Reclamation Sage versus them, because it only kills one thing.
Yep.
I like the Utter End, the Bile Blights, the Thought Seizes, and some number of Glares.
Yep.
I do not like... I think Hornet Queen's pretty bad.
Yeah. that.
actually.
I was gonna say that.
I don't think it lines up particularly well. I also think you can shave one Eidolon. You can shave one cut. Actually, you can probably just shave all of the cuts because you have so many removal spells at the lower end.
Still leaves us
And
with
I
2.
don't mind shaving 2 Caryatids, honestly.
Okay.
So this is sort of to hedge versus the fact that I think they board into a kind of weird control deck. I've had Liliana and Vest inverse them before, but I don't think it's actually very good. After having tested the matchup a bunch more.
Okay. All right, so we've got
I-
and Glares to deal with Ascendancy plus Thoughtseize, which is fine. We have Downfall to deal with dumb random planeswalkers or creatures that get out of hand. We've got Bobblights to clean up all of the little guys. And otherwise, we've still got Doomwake Giant to keep the board clear, along with Courser, Eidolon, and Whip to fuel it all. So, and then we still bash down the Siege Runners. I can't possibly see a problem here.
So the reason I like Thoughtseize versus them is they have a lot of reactive cards post board. They have a bunch of erases and disdainful strokes. So they're always gonna have something. And if you just disrupt their curve, that's often good enough to win the game with a random Siege Rhino.
Okay. Sounds good. 4 lands, Whip, Eidolon, Siege Rhino.
Probably keep because we have a lot of Skylands.
Okay. We're on the draw.
Yep.
Always lead with Temple Melody.
Yep. Basically, you have to be a maniac to want to mulligan this hand, I think.
Boom. That's pretty sick.
Yep.
That was a really nice draw. You want this card? It's another 4-drop.
Probably not, honestly. I think it's fine to bottom that.
Okay.
It just means we're basically only drawing 2-3 cards to kill an Ascendancy.
Yeah. John, I'd never keep that, he says.
So, John, the post-board games are a lot slower. So I think it's fine to keep a slow hand. Plus, I hate mulliganing, so I think I've said that a million times.
A million
already.
times. The GFAB school of thought. So, yeah. So he did
this
nothing,
is
right?
a complicated situation.
So he untaps and plays Hordling Outburst. We want a Bobblight at end of turn.
So the other issue is, if we do that, we are not guaranteed to play a 4-drop on
4.
turn 4.
Correct. So if we don't have but hold on. So we don't have a play for turn 3. So if we play the tap
if you
land
scry
now,
into an untapped land, yeah, that works.
Well, we have the waste, right?
So the thing is, I think there's actually a pretty good likelihood that if he doesn't know how to board with his deck, that he left in Rabblemaster. So you would rather blight the Rabblemaster before it makes a token. So I think that pushes me towards wanting to play wastes.
Okay.
And killing the outburst end of turn is certainly very good as well. And sometimes this deck boards into Mantis Rider. Alright, well, I guess I called it, but you basically have to kill it here.
Yeah. Sometimes they board into Mantis Rider, he says. Jarvis, so strong. So strong. It's like you're in his mind.
Alright, well, let's just get an untapped land for once.
Do not want.
We definitely don't want that one. So even if we don't hit a land, as long as he plays not a token maker this turn, we're fine.
Okay.
The ideal scenario would be Seeker of the Wago.
Yeah. He's got the fear now. We played the Bobblight. He's got the fear. Play Ascendancy and pass. Just do nothing. See that Doomwake Giant? I hear that's a pretty good magic card. Well, we'll just scry. See what we get. How about a land? Or a Thoughtseize?
Pretty sure we're supposed to. It's like kind of a weird tension because I'm like 100% he has Disdainful Stroke in his hand,
Mm-hmm.
but at the same time we would rather draw a land than a Thoughtseize, I think. So I think we should bottom it.
Okay. So we're just going to start throwing rhinos at him to deplete his counterspells?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's actually like merit to leading with Eidolon of Blossoms, but we'll see what he actually does. All right. Well, we should downfall this thing.
Yes.
It's like fantastic for us. We don't have to waste our mana.
Wow. Yeah, you're right. He's got he's got stroke.
I mean, there's no avoiding it. Play Eidolon off the forest, yeah. Because we would much rather he Disdainful Stroke that one. No.
Oh, I
Temple.
should have left Temple up, yeah.
Yep, if we draw Thoughtseize, we'll want to cast it this turn.
Yeah, without doing damage. Well, I mean, if it resolves, it doesn't. So.
Alright, I mean.
No, but you're right. It's all the micro points. It's the micro points, Jarvis.
Yep.
That's how we master magic. All right. So he's down to 3 cards in hand. We've answered every single one.
So the small issue is if he plays.
He scried that to the top.
Okay, well, he's playing Cruise here, which is. We're more than fine with that.
Yeah.
We get to slam a Rhino.
Crusher.
Nah, just Rhino up. We don't need the incremental advantage when we could just play a 4/5 that helixes him.
Lightning helix on a guy. Alright, Kubi. Fine. It sits there for a reason. It has to keep me honest.
And that's why they call him Gosu.
It's true.
Also, that card is actually pretty terrible versus us. Glare.
Yeah.
Because literally the only thing that he can glare, weird, is stupid thing. The Siege Rhino.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. So what's interesting here is he's still showing us having stroke up. He was able to glare the Rhino.
I would just play Courser here almost every time.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, play Courser first. Because if you don't hit a land on top, you can use Satyr Wayfinder to clear it.
Courser.
We don't actually want to draw that one, I think.
We'll put it in the bin and whip it later.
Yep.
Wayfinder. Hey, look, we got a land. And all these other cards. We can play that land.
Oh.
Gain a life. And shift the turn. Off to you. Now,
So it looks like he did not board into a control deck. The reason I say that being is they normally take out their... Well, I guess Raise Alarm hit the bench, but Rabblemaster usually comes out versus this deck.
another cruise. Another cruise. Hitting all those land drops.
Yeah, I mean...
Now, are we just going to block each one of these, or are we going to...
Yeah, if he strikes, we're thrilled.
He's actually going to attack the Rabmaster. I mean, I trade that off to the Courser all day, right?
I think so, because especially we know another Courser is on top of our deck.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. All day long. Yep, works for me. Oh my god. Really? So we have a Courser.
So we should play Courser and hope to hit a untapped mana for our Siege Rhino.
Nope.
That's actually fine. It lets you clear the way for your 4-drop next turn. Or 5-drop, as the case may be.
Now, why would you not just jam Doomwake Giant there?
It kills literally 1 token, and there's like a very good chance he has an erase in his hand.
Okay. He bottomed that scry.
Yep. He's trying to play Ascendancy, I think.
Nope, another Mantis Rider. I wonder if he just straight swapped the Ascendancies out for the Mantis Rider.
Well, that would be really terrible because that's like one of the best cards in this matchup.
Yeah.
I'm actually fairly certain that he took out Lightning Strike as well.
Okay.
In any case, I would just block token here, I think. Because if he has Strike, at least you kill the token.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep.
Yeah, I hear you. Okay, good.
Alright, let's look at his thoughts.
Show me.
I think it's very Yep. We should just take... I actually think you still have to take an erase, honestly. Raise Alarm doesn't do that much versus us, so just take the erase and play Siege Rhino.
Yeah.
Yep.
Rhino.
Oh, wait, hold on.
Hold on. What do you got? What do you got?
You could actually just attack him first.
Sure.
And if he blocks, then you trade a Doomwake for an erase and a Mantis Rider.
Yeah. Yeah, no.
Or he'll just take the 2, which he should. Now we just siege up. You have to take a...
No.
No, you don't.
No,
never mind.
okay.
Yeah, just... Yep, you're good.
White and black. Siege Rhinoceros. Boom. Make your little guys. I don't care. You'll save it as a trick for your Seeker, though. Yes, you will. Yes, you will. Does this guy actually have a shot? I mean, he's got to choose between Doomwake and Whip of Erebos. And I think we're going to give him the Doomwake. Because we want the Whip to stay around so we can just beat him down with all of our value.
Yeah. But just playing Rhino that turn is so much better.
Oh,
so...
I agree. I agree. Yeah, it adds to our life total, puts a clock on the table that he has to like now react to, and he has to find an answer to. Yeah, I think it's super good. Sweet.
And...
Oh, look, another Siege Rhino. So what do you think? Just double swing here? We not
yeah, that's fine.
Like we can swing with both.
Just attack with both, I think.
What is up?
Actually, no. Attacking with Courser is pretty loose, actually. No, that's like
is it
pretty
though?
loose.
Like
the reason being, it just costs him nothing to double block, and if he has. Like, we have to assign Mantis Rider first. Like, he basically kills our guy for free. And we actually do want to get lands next turn. Okay. So, I think just giving away the 2/4 is not good.
Okay.
But I think it's fine to attack.
Because we're going to jam the Doomwake in response if he does that, right? So then it's going to kill whatever the Courser went up against.
I think it's just fine to, like, slow down a little bit.
Okay. That's fine.
And not attack with that Courser.
We know he has Erase and Unknown in hand.
Yep. I'm just going to pretend it's not disdainful stroke because it's like super unlikely.
Sure.
All right, so you should put the tokens first.
Why?
Or actually, no. Actually, this is fine
Right?
because if he has another spell, such as the erase. Actually, if you put the tokens first, he will then erase. So that's actually 1, 2, 3, 4.
If I put the tokens first, then they don't. Then the Seeker won't die. He doesn't have to do shit.
Right. I'm just trying to figure out if there's a way for him to bait the
Bait the
erase
so
on
that
our.
we can keep our stuff.
No, this is fine. This is fine. I don't think he'll do it, but I was kind of hoping he would.
Just
I think he still played the Doomwake.
Yeah.
Just play the Doomwake. Yeah.
Okay.
Just let him erase it if he wants.
Hey, look at that. Looks good. Use the erase. You know you want it. I guess he could do it in response to another spell, right?
Yeah. He's being really patient with this thing, which is kind of irritating. We would rather he just, like, use it. Although, like, I guess if he just lets us beat down with the Doomwake, that's good for us too. Okay.
Alright.
Alright. Finally, a land. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Yep.
Let's see. I think
We can
I would
attack with
attack
both here,
with
right?
Doomwake. What?
Let's just say we can attack with both if we wanted to.
I would rather have Courser back to block the Rabble Master.
Okay.
In case of, like, things go south.
We're looking to resolve Siege Rhino here on this turn? And Carroted?
Yeah. Yep.
There's the erase.
Okay. We finally erased it, which is good for us.
So now do you want to play Whip and Carroted instead?
No. I still want to play Siege Rhino and Caryatid. The reason being, this guarantees you at least one whip activation next turn.
Okay.
If you do it the other way, he could just have like an erase or something else, and you wouldn't even get an activation.
Okay. Sorry. All right. Yeah, whip and activation. You're right. And depending, I guess, on what he plays. Oh, Chandra Pyromaster.
Yep.
Not too bad. 0 for a Rabble Master.
Grapple. It's actually pretty good for him.
I think so too.
Although, what's he at?
10.
So he'll get 2 guys and a Rabble Master that has to attack. It's actually not that good for
I
him.
think he's doing it after combat. He'll make a guy after combat.
Yeah. Yep. Just block with Courser. Because I would rather not get our guys stoked.
Agree.
I mean it's, like, it's very low likelihood that he has Stoke in his hand, but...
Cool. Coolio.
Alright, so he's at 10?
Yep.
If you whip back...
Siege Rhino?
Yeah. I actually think you want to play your land first just to gain the life. And bottom that thing. I don't think we need a 1-1 for 2.
No, we don't. Get
I mean, like, we have plenty of stuff in our graveyard as well.
All right.
Alright, so I would whip back. It's either Doomwake or Siege Rhino. If we Siege Rhino, that puts him at 7.
And then we attack. Now,
We
do we attack
double-
Chandra?
I don't think that Chandra matters. I think we can just let it stay.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I would just whip back a Rhino and attack with all of our guys.
Okay. Get behind that. So, how much damage this is going to cost us? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We got to tap it all. Okay, so we're fine. So whip, mana, whip.
Kubi has a good point. We should have blocked with our. Well, no, we kill his token. I don't know.
I think it's 6 one, half dozen the other. I think you kind of have to decide what you're playing around in that regard. And you have to decide whether the tokens matter.
They generally don't leave in the Lightning Strike versus you, so I think it's pretty unlikely.
Okay. And we just
Just attack the
away.
ball. Yep.
All right. Here it is. If he has the erase, it's bad
I
for
mean,
us.
if he has the race, it's like good for him, but he's still in trouble.
Yeah. Lifelink. Good old lifelink.
So generally, that deck has like 3 erases. I think the likelihood of him having the third one is super, super low.
Sure. I mean, he's not even halfway through the deck yet.
Yeah.
So what's he contemplating here? This is correct. You are at 1.
He was contemplating whether he should block with the last Rabble Master.
Well, we have a Siege Rhinoceros in the graveyard, so you're dead. Unless you kill the
Well,
whip.
no, he could have Jeskai Charm, but they typically take out that one as well. It's just like the burn spell plan is not that good versus Siege Rhino plus Whip. That's an island.
Yep, well, there it is.
Isn't? Nope, he was dead.
He was dead. There's all our
Adorable.
lands.
I mean, so I still stand by keeping that hand because I think it goes slow, and we had 3 Scrylands in our hand, so it's not that unlikely we'll find something to do on turn 2 or 3.
True. We got... Yeah, we did well there. What am I looking for here? Hide this. Alright! Just